I was 7 years old when my brother sold me out. He threw me to a kidnapper to save his own skin. When I finally managed to get back home, it was like I'd walked into someone else's life. My parents had a new daughter. She was dripping in designer clothes and jewels, and she wrinkled her nose at me. EW, who's this street urchin? She stinks. What if she's got cooties? Just like that, the way my parents looked at me changed. My brother just sneered. Why did you have to come back and ruin everything? You want money or something? That's when I realized the fake princess had become the real one, and I was just an obstacle in her way. Eventually, my brother helped the fake princess torture me to death, and my parents just stood by and watched. I woke up, back in my 5-year-old body. This time, I was gonna make damn sure I survived. My nasty brother and my messed up parents, they could all go to hell. He's my brother. Boys are worth more. I promise I won't call the cops. I shoved my brother as hard as I could towards the guy. Then I turned tail and ran like the devil was after me. The greasy-looking dude grabbed my brother and dragged him towards the van. My brother was only 7, still a kid. He was kicking and screaming, "Maggie, help me." His eyes were huge with fear. The big red soda he was holding spilled all over his clothes, mixing with his snot and tears. The kidnapper was happy enough. He wrestled my brother into the van and sped off. The rusty license plate rattled on the front of the car. "Help you? You gotta be kidding me." I sprinted to the nearest convenience store. Candy apples and corn dogs, my favorite snack. I needed something to calm my nerves. I was munching away as I walked home. My mom and dad were just getting home, and when they saw me alone, they asked, "Where's Billy?" I took a big lick of my candy apple and said in my sweetest voice, "Didn't Billy go home already? Want a corn dog, Mom and Dad?" My parents started tearing around the neighborhood, checking all the houses where Billy might have gone, but they couldn't find him. Then they really started to freak out and called the police. Back then, there weren't cameras everywhere, so finding a kidnapper was like finding a needle in a haystack. Even the cops were surprised. This is one of the safest neighborhoods around here. How could someone just snatch a kid? The security guards didn't see anything suspicious. You guys made some enemies lately, someone trying to get back at you. Probably just saw we were doing well and figured they could get something out of it. Mom collapsed on the ground, sobbing her heart out, and Dad was right there with her. I sat in a chair, swinging my little legs back and forth, watching them with wide eyes. They were so upset. Why weren't they upset when they watched me die? Oh yeah, my brother's life mattered, but mine didn't. Fine, then nobody gets to live happily ever after. That night, missing posters were plastered all over town. The local news was reporting on Billy's disappearance, and there was a reward of $50,000. In a time when people were making a few $100 a year, 50 grand was an insane amount of money. I wondered if Billy was worth 50,000. Would the kidnapper send him back when he figured it out? But after seeing the posters, I knew there was no way Billy was ever coming back. Compared to $50,000, saving a kid's life didn't even enter the picture. 6 months passed, and with so many other cases popping up, Billy's case got put on the back burner. I thought about how Billy had pushed me towards the kidnapper last time, and then took off. I was just learning from him. After all, we were brother and sister. Deep down, we were the same kind of people. I started using my brains to come up with ways to make money, distracting my parents and helping them slowly move on from losing their son. Dad patted me on the head, beaming, "Maggie, you're our lucky charm. You've helped Mom and Dad make so much money." I giggled, "Dad, those rich people on TV all have houses with swimming pools and garages. It's awesome. Mom and Dad, let's get a bigger house, somewhere with rich people. Maybe we can even make some business connections and make even more money. They say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." My parents were blown away. They decided right then to buy a house in a posh neighborhood. They had enough money to pay for a new house, but they were worried that if Billy came back, he wouldn't be able to find them. I had to get rid of that thought. Wipe his memory from their minds. Maggie's right, nothing's more important than your connections. The next day, Mom and Dad went house hunting. They did their research and ended up splurging on a fancy house on a hilltop where all the big shots in town lived. I grabbed a plate of Mom's homemade cookies and made sure to introduce myself to all our neighbors. I was polite and well-behaved, and I got to know everyone pretty quickly. My parents ended up landing a bunch of small projects, which helped them build good relationships. When I thought the time was right, I piped up, "Mom and Dad, maybe we should adopt a brother. You guys are always working, and you don't have time for me. It's lonely being alone all the time. I wish I had someone to play with." Why a brother? Because I needed to completely replace Billy in my parents' hearts. I also wanted to make sure that if he ever did come back, my parents wouldn't give him all the credit for everything I'd done, just because he was the boy. No way was that happening. Right now, I was the apple of their eyes, so they'd agree to anything I wanted. You can't choose your parents, so you're stuck with whatever you get. But a brother, that's a different story. If I could choose, I was going to pick someone who was perfect for me. He couldn't be stupid. He'd screw everything up. He definitely couldn't be ugly. Just looking at him would be torture, not to mention being around him all the time. Besides being kind, the most important thing was that he had a good personality. I was never dealing with a white trash brother again. I searched all the orphanages in town, and finally, I found him. The look in his eyes was what sold me. I'd seen enough creeps and monsters to know that this kid would be tough to control later on, so I had to start building a relationship with him now. Here, I pulled a Starburst from my pocket and put it in his long, slender hand. "If you eat this, you'll be my brother. We've got tons of toys and snacks at my house. I'll share half of everything with you. Want to come home with me, big brother?" No little boy could resist a cute little girl like me, and he was no exception. He carefully took the Starburst, but he wouldn't touch my hand, like he was afraid of getting it dirty. I grabbed his hand and held it tight, and ran to show him off to my parents. "Mom, Dad, I found the brother I want. He was pretty cute and clean, and my parents liked him right away. They asked him a few basic questions and saw that he spoke clearly and politely. He was a well-behaved kid, and they agreed to my request. From now on, your name is Alex Sterling, I yelled. He had eyes as beautiful as the stars. He nodded in agreement. He got the room across from mine. It was the room my parents were planning on giving to Billy. He sat to Dad's left during dinner, where Billy used to sit. Slowly, he took Billy's place in the family. My parents got used to taking him with them to all sorts of events. Now, they were calling him our son in private conversations. Alex started getting used to the change, and with my encouragement, he became more outgoing and confident. Maybe his first impression of me made a big impact on him. He really did treat me like his little sister, protecting me from everything. Every night before bed, he'd tell me fairy tales to help me fall asleep. He'd sneak the food I didn't like off my plate and eat it himself. If I tripped and fell, he'd be so worried that he'd want to take the pain for me. Before I knew it, we were in high school. Being loved all the time had made Alex shine, and he caused a stir as soon as he walked into the school. We were in the same class, because my parents and Alex wanted to keep me safe. My old buddy from my past life, the fake princess who tortured me to death, Crystal Fuller, showed up too. She was soft and delicate, and she had a way of smiling and batting her eyelashes that made you feel sorry for her. Especially those big, watery eyes. Alex, look at the girl at 12 o'clock. What do you think of her? Alex followed my gaze and saw Crystal in her yellow floral dress, her hair flowing in the breeze. He didn't know what I was getting at. He thought for a minute and said, I don't know. I guess she's the kind of girl most guys would like. More than just guys. She was the kind of girl my brother was obsessed with, the kind of girl he was willing to help torture his own sister for. I licked my lips. Is she your type? He looked disgusted for a second, but then he smiled and said, no. I laughed. So what is your type? He looked down at me, raising an eyebrow. Has to be spoiled, bossy, unreasonable. Me, Crystal was in my class, but she didn't get in based on merit. She was a scholarship student that the school wanted for PR. Every year, the fancy private school would admit a few underprivileged kids to show they were committed to equal opportunity, but it usually backfired. Most of those kids ended up getting bullied. Everyone else was either an heir to a fortune or came from money. In my past life, Crystal was able to strut around because my brother was always there to protect her, but Billy wasn't around anymore. I'd like to see her act tough now. The first class was always introductions. Everyone took their turn and spoke confidently. They were born with money and had no fear in social settings. When it was Crystal's turn, her face turned red and she fidgeted like she was uncomfortable. I'm kind of shy. The teacher smiled kindly and said, that's okay, everyone's nervous the first time. Let's give her a round of applause. Class. The classroom filled with applause. Alex saw I wasn't clapping, so he didn't either. After 3 rounds of applause, everyone started getting impatient, but Crystal still hadn't gone up to the front. She bit her lip hard, her face turning red, and tears started streaming down her face. Total garbage. After that, everyone avoided Crystal like the plague. She rubbed everyone the wrong way. She's always crying. You'd think someone was beating her up. It's disgusting. Right, she wasted so much time. I didn't even get to go to the bathroom before the bell rang. So annoying. When we pick seats this afternoon, I'm not sitting anywhere near her. She's gonna ruin my vibe. Everyone was talking about Crystal. When she overheard them, she ran to the teacher and complained. That might have worked at a normal school, but this was a private school. This was practically begging for more abuse. Crystal's situation is a little different, so I hope everyone will be understanding. Is there anyone in the class who would be willing to sit with her? She's shy, so if someone could keep her company, I'm sure she'll get used to things pretty quickly. No one raised their hand. The classroom filled with laughter. The teacher coughed lightly. Well then, Crystal, who would you like to sit with? Crystal wasn't shy anymore. She pointed to Alex and said, I want to sit with Alex. The way she said his name was like they were close. The boys started to whistle, and the girls rolled their eyes. The teacher nodded. Okay, Alex, you can sit with Crystal from now on. Take good care of her. Alex stood up to refuse. Sorry, ma'am, I'm allergic to tears.